What's good? Welcome in. Thanks for watching the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report, and on the docket for today's show, I'm going to explain why you should not hit the panic button despite that ugly loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Before we get into that, and before we take some of your questions from our loyal subscribers, let's get to our loyal sponsor, Manscaped. You can get 20% off on the best men's grooming products at manscaped.com/49ers and use the code 49ers. Why I love Manscaped? They have the best men's grooming products. No doubt the best. And that's why 9 million men worldwide, including me and producer Chip, put our trust in them. Safeguard technology so you know if you take a razor to your face or down below the belt to the sensitive area, you're not going to get cut up. Great battery life as well. Their boxer briefs, the most comfortable boxer briefs that I have ever worn. Very affordable products, but also they're durable and high quality. Manscaped.com/49ers. Promo code 49ers. We'll tell you more about them coming up here in just a little bit. So I'm not too concerned about the San Francisco 49ers, even after that loss to the Ravens. 33-19. 5 turnovers, Brock Purdy with 4 interceptions, and here is why. When you look at the numbers, the 49ers had more passing yards than Baltimore, 308 to 241. The 49ers had more rushing yards than the Ravens, 121 to 102. A lot of you might say, a lot of those yards came in garbage time. This was a close game at halftime. It just unraveled in the third quarter with a couple of Brock Purdy interceptions, and that's why Baltimore was able to put up 17 unanswered points in that third frame. Also, this was the best defense in the NFL overall and the number one defense against the run. And Christian McCaffrey had a heck of a game. There were running lanes there and big plays that he was able to pick up. San Francisco also outgained the Ravens, 429 to 343. San Francisco's yards per play, 6.3 to the Ravens, 5.4. But this is what this game comes down to. When you turn the football over 5 times, including 2 interceptions in the red zone, multiple around midfield, it's impossible to win, especially against a juggernaut like the Baltimore Ravens, who are physical, who have some dogs, who are very well coached. Those turnovers are the story of the game. The story of the game is not that San Francisco got outclassed, not that San Francisco is a bunch of frauds. The 49ers really didn't have a lot of trouble in moving the ball against the number one defense in the National Football League. To me, San Francisco beat themselves with the 5 giveaways, but also 10 penalties for 102 yards. Uncharacteristically, they were sloppy. And they had all these self-inflicted wounds, which really, really hurt them. And what that does is it really halts all of your momentum. And I think people need to start understanding, this is for the casual football fans out there, the difference between a defense playing poorly and the offense putting the defense in an impossible position to succeed. The San Francisco 49ers gave up 7 straight scoring drives for the first time since 2005. That sounds awful, but the Ravens scored touchdowns on 3 drives last night. One began on their 47-yard line, the second began on the San Francisco 44, and the last one started at the Niners' 9. So, of those 3 touchdown drives, one was 91 yards, and that was a bad blemish for this Niners defense. Outside of that, this Niners defense was put in a really difficult position to have success because the turnovers for the Niners came in the red zone, but also at a point of the field where the Ravens were able to take over in advantageous territory. Not only did the Niners turn it over 5 times, they set up Baltimore with a couple of short fields, and with that offense, with Lamar Jackson, who's now the odds-on favorite to win NFL MVP, ladies and gentlemen, that is a recipe for disaster. Now, Brock Purdy was not great, but this Ravens team is also really good. Give credit where credit is due, and let's also talk about Brock Purdy's interceptions. Outside of the first one, the last 3, kind of unlucky. coming on deflections, and then the one where his arm got hit. The Niners were able to move the football. They had explosive plays on offense, a couple to George Kittle, a couple to Debo, a couple to Ayuk, some to Christian McCaffrey. And you look at some of the individual performances for this Niners team. Yeah, Brock Purdy threw those 4 interceptions, but how about the evenings that Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, and McCaffrey were all able to have against this really good Ravens defense? Christian McCaffrey, 14 carries, 103 yards. Average yards per carry, 7.4. That didn't all come in garbage time. George Kittle, 7 catches for $126. Ayuk, 6 catches for $113. And Debo Samuel, 4 catches for 47. 12 targets, a little bit too much for Debo in my opinion, but the Niners put up some really gaudy numbers against this Ravens team. So with that, I do want to ask you our poll question here. Niners lose by 2 scores. Should have been closer. If they don't turn the football over that many times, I think it's a different game. Are you in or out on the Niners? Type in, type out. Join the conversation down below in the comment section right now. As I mentioned off the rip, today's 49ers Report is presented by Manscaped. Step into 2024 with confidence thanks to Manscaped, where resolutions are met and hairs are neatly kept. As the new year approaches, why not make self-improvement a breeze by keeping your body well-groomed? Introducing Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, the ultimate all-inclusive kit designed to help you feel clean-cut and confident as you should. It features the Powerhouse Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This next-gen trimmer ensures precision and ease when tackling your toughest hairs. So kick off 2024 with the trim above the rest and use the code 49ers at manscaped.com/49ers for 20% off and free shipping. The Performance Package 5.0 is here, and let me tell you, it's got futuristic tendencies, man. Included in this bundle, Lawnmower 5.0, the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer, the essential aftercare products like Crop Soother, Ball Aftershave Lotion, Crop Preserver, Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant, and 2 free gifts. Those 2 free gifts, the Boxers and the Shed 2.0 travel bag. I know a lot of us like to do a lot of traveling, me included, and when I do travel, I'm traveling with the Manscaped travel bag, all thanks to this great deal. Limited time only, usually 20% off. You can get 25% off and free shipping. Manscaped.com/49ers. Start to take your questions here on the show. This one coming in from Big Worm 14. If we win out, we still get the number 1 seed, right? Let's show how San Francisco can get the number 1 seed this week. And if the Niners do win out, they will get the number 1 seed. To get the number 1 seed this weekend, Niners, 13.5-point favorites, have to beat Washington. They need the Cowboys to beat the Lions because they're a threat to get the number 1 seed, -6.5. Cardinals, 10.5-point underdogs. They need to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's how the Niners can wrap up the number 1 seed this week. And if they do win against the Commanders and Rams, then yes, they will secure home field advantage to go through Levi's in Santa Clara. Henry, the average Niner fan, why do the Niners keep declining to sign an offensive lineman? It's like they are allergic to it. It is weird. This is not a problem that is caused by what the Niners are doing or not doing right now. This is the Niners not drafting a tackle in the 3rd round. They drafted a kicker. They drafted a tight end who wasn't even going to make the 53-man roster. They had opportunities, multiple junctures, to add an offensive lineman in the draft. They could have done it in free agency. They neglected that position, and they're not investing in it outside of Trent Williams, who is the best left tackle in the game. This is a little bit of a philosophical approach and preference for the Niners that I simply do not agree with. I would invest a lot more in the offensive line because against the Cowboys last year in the playoffs, against the Eagles, now against the Ravens, what has happened? This Niners offensive line, it has not been good, and it has been a leaky valve, and that can cost San Francisco. Now, at this point of the season, I should say, there's just not good offensive linemen available. Melvin Wagner, do you think we need a cornerback. I think San Francisco is really set. Charvarius Ward's been a top 5 corner this year. Ambry Thomas has been really good on the outside. Diamador Lenore has been excellent in the slot. The Niners did elevate Jason Verrett to the active roster. He did give up a touchdown, but his initial coverage was actually pretty good on Nelson Aguilar, who did a good job coming back to the football once Lamar Jackson was able to escape a little bit. I think the Niners pretty set at corner. Brent Smith, Chase, everybody played poorly. Offensive line, Brock's wide receivers, Ambry Thomas, linebackers, and the entire defensive line continues to miss tackles. I actually thought that Ambry Thomas played pretty well. Some of the numbers for him are actually pretty intriguing with what he was able to do. And I have some of the numbers right here, I believe, if I can pull it up. It's not happening for me right now, but I think that Ambry Thomas, really since being inserted as the starter on the outside coming out of the bye week, he's been really good. I mean, he gave up 21 yards on 7 targets against the Ravens. 2 forced incompletions, 1 pass breakup, and a passer rating against of 62.2. Brent, you do talk about something that we talked about last week, something that I've talked about a lot here on the show, and this is why you subscribe, because I think that we can make you smarter, more informed people. The Niners missing tackles has been an issue all year. Ambry Thomas, if you think that he's missed tackles, he's only missed 1 tackle in 42 attempts this year. So he's not the issue there. But other players missing tackles has continued to be problematic. Mr. Block Ice, the whole team, period, needs to look at that game and see what they did the F wrong. Go Niners. No panic over here. Purdy will be fine. Don't F up with the penalties. Yeah, 102 yards in penalties, unacceptable for a game of that significance. That simply just can't happen. Niners offensive line, I think it's a lack of talent. It's just who they are. You're just got to hope that when they play against a really good defensive line at some point in the playoffs, that they're going to have a good day and not a bad day. Because when they have a bad day, we saw what happened on Christmas night. Greg Smith, people that hate Brock Purdy, they don't know ball. I like that energy, Greg. And I think that Brock Purdy is a really good quarterback. The accuracy, the anticipation, being able to read defenses, layering footballs in with touch, being able to decipher what defenses are doing. I think that he has a lot of mature quarterback abilities and has a lot of intangibles that you want in a quarterback. He had a bad day against the Browns. What do you know? One of the best defenses in the NFL. He had a bad day against the Baltimore Ravens. One of the best defenses in the NFL. Bad days are going to happen, especially when you're going up against teams, too, that you don't often play against. What's also interesting is how Brock Purdy has kind of struggled against AFC teams, which is weird, but again, the lack of familiarity, I think, is an issue. Brock Purdy against the NFC, 13-1, 31 passing touchdowns, 5 picks. Against the AFC, 3-3, 11 touchdowns, 10 picks. Could cause for some concern when you think about a Super Bowl run, but I have confidence in the player to have that short memory and to make the necessary adjustments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for daily and year-round shows on the Niners. Always great chopping it up with the faithful as part of our mailbag segments. So thanks for getting those questions in.